Where is Dan?
He is,
Hey Dan,
Hey, you know, Farmer
I
George.
got a key question about what happened this week.
Oh, okay. What happened this week? You know about Farmer George? What happened up here?
Maybe I'll ask.
They kept him in jail for 16 days because they wouldn't.
No, because we had to start. If you got, can you show me your ID?
Am I required to do that right now?
I think so. Please. Show me your ID.
That's not gonna happen.
Now, look, buddy. I just let's.
it's the right answer.
No, it's not the right answer. Please show me your ID. Come on, you know.
Wrong phrase.
No, that's
He's still.
that's it. No, there's no ID
just
for
that.
me. I don't
No,
even own
okay, well,
government
wait.
issued photo ID. I don't even own any.
Okay, well, can you show me your ID?
No.
You can't. No. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that you already have.
Have I? And how's that?
It's, you see, it's been going this way since time began until about 20 years ago. I'm looking at it and listening to it. And the fellow that gave it to you apparently knew the number of hairs in your head before the foundation was
Well,
built. But I mean,
I'll tell
that's
you,
so far out beyond
I'm
your comprehension.
I'm just beginning
You decided
mine.
to dismiss him.
I'm
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Do you know that you are so unique that there's no other face like yours on the planet?
This is true.
No other finger? No other voice?
This is true.
there you go.
Why is
This
it
is called preparations. This
we are
new,
dealing with
website
somebody else's idea of
opening,
us?
Okay, now I'm going to be changing a lot of the stuff that's
Why
in
is
there.
that?
I'm
Because
just
we've been
starting,
deceived.
but nevertheless, okay, because I'm
Okay.
going to start to get a lot of.
And that's what
facts
this
in
issue
there.
is all about
This
with me in the
40
court.
It's
Right.
time for me to.
And when
step
I went
up
back
and
to my
step
original
back.
ID,
You know, it's called preparation.
they could not
It's
get
about
jurisdiction.
preparing.
Right.
Okay, because the
It's a
other
really
side of
key
preparing,
fundamental issue
and I
that
see
we've
2
entirely been
rams
deceived, and they've got us
is
in a
going to
trap.
come like 2 boxes
Okay.
heavyweight, and one's going to
Because
lose. You see.
What you would present
And
to
so-
me
Right.
well, that's just
wouldn't
it.
even be
We
the
are.
ID, it's simply a copy.
What they do
Yes.
is the big.
And do you
powers
realize
use
this is
powers,
a
they use little
debit
countries
credit card
as
that hasn't been
the
activated?
Okay,
I have
as
heard of
stepping
this.
stones.
Do you know how the 407
And they
operates?
also do that with people too.
407?
You see. And so,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how
yeah.
does it work?
this is why I asked
They
that
take a
question.
picture of
in
your
there.
license plate,
You
send
see,
you a bill?
How do they do that?
they know. knows
Is it they or is it it? Is it an automated system?
Well, you tell me about the 407.
Well, it's an automated system that you and I built, and then the boys here sold it for 25 cents on the dollar.
Right. Right.
And they take they take a picture of the plate on going on and a picture of the plate going off. An automated system. It's all automated, and they send you the bill.
If you want
Well,
your
everywhere
cottage,
there's
if you
a
want your
camera, and a lot
cottage,
went up here in the
you gotta buy our
G20,
material
G20.
and go our way. Otherwise,
It's operating on you in the same
scrounge.
automated system. They
You
just
see what I
haven't
mean?
sent you bills
So it's a
yet.
global
Right.
thing.
Like, I mean, this is crucial, and you know, we've been informed
So,
about
like,
this
you
coming
have-
2,000 years ago.
I agree.
And I told the boys in court about it. And I mean, it wasn't me or anything. It's just stuff that come out of this book. So if you want to go to court and win, you need very few books in the order. You need a Bible.
Okay.
You need a concordance. Now, do you know what I mean by a concordance?
No.
Okay, the words in the Bible in Daniel were said they would be sealed up until the time they're to be revealed.
That's right.
So you have to go back to the original writings because it's only the original
have the
writings
email?
that were inspired. And then man in his usual way improves upon God's handiwork by translating and improving on it so everybody can understand it, right?
Right.
And what is
So you need the Bible, you need the concordance, which lists every word in the King James 1611 Bible, which isn't perfect,
Okay.
but it's, you know, one of the closer ones. Then you go down to Noah Webster's Dictionary, which is 6 inches thick, and it's unabridged, and it's full of vernacular definitions of words. Under that, you go to Black's Law Dictionary,
American Free
Okay.
Press.
and under that, you go to the Dictionary of Canadian Law.
Spotlight.
Do you know when I was in
And
court,
are,
and those books will solve the problem.
Yeah, right.
When I asked the judge,
Right.
I was in court here not too long ago, and this fellow from the Middle East needed an interpreter.
Well, you know, everybody has, you know.
I said, I
sometimes
think I should be entitled to the same
I don't
thing
like
because
this.
what I'm up against here is more complicated than learning Chinese.
okay.
I said, I'm familiar with
Yeah,
the vernacular
I
that I
know
grew up with,
Right.
and I took a peek at the legal dictionaries and discovered the legalese, same words in the Noah Webster, have a totally opposite Orwellian meaning in the legalese. So I need an interpreter if I'm going to enter your jurisdiction and discuss stuff.
Of course, they have to be able to explain to you.
Right, the guy with the
Well, that was said, that ain't going to happen. Okay?
It used to
So
belong to that,
the transcripts are going to be available on this, and you know, if you're interested, I would kind of let you be the first guy to get a look at this, because it's very serious.
the purpose of this
So we got talking about dictionaries, okay?
disappear.
The judge said we don't use dictionaries in the court.
So they wanted to destroy
Well, how do we get on the same page?
the enemy actually.
And then he said, I was talking about different definitions of words. I'd like him to define them. Okay, so the one was legal fiction. And he said, we talked a little bit, and he said, well, what's the definition? What is the legal definition of fiction? I said, well, sir, it's a rule of law, which is false, but assumed to be true. And your job in the whole enforcement system is to see that that falsehood is never disproved. Okay? And he said, I don't believe that. And we talked on a little bit more about other things, very interesting things. And then he told his little girl that knocks on the door and lets him into the room and so on. He sent her to get a dictionary that he said he'd never ever looked at.
Okay.
And while he went to do that,
George, I'm going over to the upstairs. To
okay,
book. Yeah.
when he went to do that, he had appointed an amicus to the court that numerous times he tried to make out that I was his client. That amicus said, yeah, we never ever used dictionaries. They got closed after school, law school, and they went in the shelf and collected dust. You see, it was a three-ring circus, and then the Crown jumps in and said, yeah, after school, all we ever used them for are Christmas tree stands. And I said, yeah, you hide the truth under this pagan symbol that you cut down to die and cover everything up with the fallen needles. All right? So a lot of this discussion, so the bottom line is, it is just amazing. It's not hard to see how those guys are performing in there, because most of the scribes, the Pharisees, and the Sadducees nowadays are lawyers first. Okay? And they are committed to lies. That is, no, seriously, it's very hard to believe. So they're operating under this shroud of respectability in their black cloaks, much like the priests in the Catholic Church did, to such an extent that when a little child talked to mom and dad about what happened to him, don't you, that couldn't be. We won't even talk about that. And that went on for centuries. Well, they just didn't abuse, they murdered them here in Canada. I presume you're aware of what went on across this country with the native people. This is what's going on in our courts, and it's totally out of control.
Yeah, man, that's wild.
Okay, and it all based, I'll tell you, this little deception thing that we've swallowed, we've allowed, and this is why we've blasphemed God, and he speaks very harshly about us forfeiting the identification he's given to us free. I've never had a problem with my identification, theft of my identity.
Yeah.
We've allowed them to come in and counterfeit it, and allowed them to transfer our ID to their slave papers of us, okay? That's deadly dangerous.
Yeah. That's very serious.
Particularly when we don't even recognize it. And that's only one wee little problem that we are under. And this thing's about ready to come to a head. Because on top of it, you see, I discovered about this mark. It's called the mark. Scripture tells us that we're not going to receive the mark from the beast. We're going to give it to him. And I can show you in the original writings, and we're going to give him not a mark, we're going to give him a stamp as a badge of servitude. This is right off the pages. This stamp being an exact representation or copy or an express image.
Okay. This is coming directly
From the scripture.
From the
I can
Hebrew?
show you. No, Greek.
The
It's
Greek.
in the New Testament. John's in the Revelation. Okay, and it's going to come not from the forehead, but it's going to come from medups, which is meta amidst the eyes and face. Optometry comes from the oops part of the meta. Oops. Okay? 3359 in the concordance. And the right hand. And once they get those God-given identifiers from us and convince us that that's what we identify ourselves with, then no man's going to buy or sell without it. Okay? There's also a name and a number. And the reason I was released from court this week is they didn't get the name. And they didn't get the number at the traffic stop. When they asked for the name, I gave off my birth registration what is called my given Christian names, plural. Okay? The surname was an add-on that's not mine. It's been around since before we can track back history, and it was used for classifying groups for control.
So did you represent your person in court?
No, I certainly didn't. That's deadly. They want you as an agent of that person. They want a lawyer as agent for that person. They want you in the legal dictionary to personate their entity of you.
Right.
Once you understand these simple little principles that Scripture spells out, it's extremely easy to deal with these people.
Yeah.